Welcome to Shine Together, a podcast where Edmonton's brightest minds come together to share ideas, collaborate, and inspire. What makes a city great is its people, and this podcast is all about bringing them together. So let's dive into meaningful conversations and make
All right, guys, and help
shine
yourself to any
greater
glasses
together.
or cookies along the way. Thank you for coming, guys. I'm Dr. Omar Mohammad, and I'm running for mayor in the next municipal election here in Edmonton, Alberta. Welcome to Shine Together, an Edmonton podcast where one expert Edmontonian takes the host chair, and another expert Edmontonian takes the guest chair. And I get the honor, privilege of witnessing, listening, learning, and growing alongside both of you. Our guest today is Wayne Jones. Originally from Edmonton, he's a Toronto-based improv comedian, producer, and actor known for his quick wit, magnetic stage presence, and dedication to the community. Since 2012, he's been the driving force behind the White Rhino, Toronto's premier improv comedy show, where he serves as both principal performer and producer. Wayne's talent has taken him across North America with performances at iconic venues like Second City Toronto, the Annoyance Theatre in Chicago, and stages in Hollywood and beyond. His sold-out Colin McCree and Wayne Jones tours earned him a Canadian Comedy Award nomination for Best Live Production. Beyond the stage, Wayne has appeared in notable screen roles, including NBC's This Is Us and the Oscar-winning film Ford vs. Ferrari. He's currently filming a special project in collaboration with the Hockey Hall of Fame. Offstage, Wayne's heart shines just as brightly. Since 2015, he has been a devoted supporter of Fundación El Mundo Mejor, an orphanage in Higüey, Dominican Republic. Through personal time, funding, and hands-on care, including providing essentials and motorcycles for transport, Wayne has built deep bonds with the 25 to 30 boys who call the orphanage home, and proudly calling them his extended family. Wayne, it's a pleasure for you to be here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. What an intro. Holy cow.
Very good. I need a cup of water here. And
Dude, even I got thirsty. That was
there
a
you go.
lot.
There's the that one. There you go. You just waited just from time passing on. Our host today is Ahmed. If you've laughed at a comedy show in Canada lately, chances are you've seen Ahmed, or as I like to call him, Ahmed 2 times. Ahmed is a rising star in the Canadian comedy scene. Known for his disarming charm, quick wit, and magnetic stage presence, he's originally from Yemen. Ahmed built his comedy chops here in Edmonton, where he quickly became a crowd favorite. With a style that blends off-the-cuff spontaneity with razor-sharp writing, Ahmed has captured hearts and laughs across the country. One of the most lovable comedians in Canada, he's earned the chance to tour coast to coast, bringing his unique voice and infectious energy to stages nationwide. Thank you very much for being here, gentlemen. Wayne and Ahmed, I hope we shine brighter together. And Ahmed 2 times, the show is yours.
All right. Thank you so much for letting me host this. This is a pleasure. And having the next mayor of Edmonton and Wayne Jones together is going to be so fun.
I can't wait, man. I'm excited right now.
Usually you would expect a white guy to run for mayor. But
Yeah, okay.
Not today.
Not today, folks. Not today.
all right. Well, I'm very happy for this. Respects, the minorities on the white chair, the white guys on the black chair. Let's keep it real.
That's right.
Well, you know what? This is awesome. So I'm gonna be hosting. So let me ask you something, man. Should I talk about both of you or?
You just do you, man. The show is yours.
Just do you. All right. So let me ask you something, man. As
Start with me.
of course, man.
All right,
as
brother.
two Albertans right here.
All right.
Not very happy what's going on.
Yep.
In Edmonton. Actually, I'm pretty okay, but like gas prices still suck. So what's your plans for the city? And what's your plans for the city? Like first 3 top item list. What is the 1, 2, 3 that you?
Number one, man, I'm going to hit it up. Advocacy, man. There's that whole list of the jobs Edmonton mayor needs to do. And it's I see 150 families a week in my practice, and you hear all the issues and everything that, Edmontonians care about. Mm-hmm. Yet these politicians, don't tend to do anything about it, right? So for me, it's number one is advocacy, right? And, you see our 5,000 plus homeless here on the streets, right? going up and up and up, that affects all of us, I mean, we all get pissed off about potholes, but, potholes, we always complain about potholes every year, I'd love to fix them and patch them. I'd like to start a campaign, patch them fast. But for me, it's like I always want to bring Edmonton back, when I say, to the day where all we complain about is the potholes, So, shopping bags is another big thing that, I released a video very recently. People get angry about that. It affects all of us, every Edmontonian, So for me, it's, just wanting to make our lives a lot easier and just, make it more harmonious, as you would say.
Respects.
Yeah.
Oh, nice, nice. All right. What about Loblaws? Get him. Get him.
I think you could run fully on just the plastic bag issue.
I think so, man.
That thing is just...
What the heck? It's like the things people care about. I find that, odd, but you care about what you care about, and you want to advocate for that. I'm going to ask you guys, if you guys had a superpower, if you guys could pick a superpower as a mayor, what would you pick, to fix our city here? What would you guys do?
Superpower as a mayor.
I would be about the potholes. I personally would, you'd be driving to work, and you could just whisper, "Not today, potholes," right? And then bam, potholes like fixed all the way, right? Or, I'd be like, back to the one of the big annoyances, like that, go through the drive-through, 25 cents for a paper bag. I'm a dentist, people put their tooth under their pillow. I'd be like the bag fairy. If I had a superpower, you take your bag, you put it under your pillow, and you get a quarter. That would be my superpower.
Yeah. I what's funny is because I spend so much time in Toronto and kind of different cities and stuff like that, when I come back to Edmonton, I have the perspective that Edmonton's actually like a pretty well-run city. Like when you spend time in Toronto, like it's a disaster out there as far as like traffic and things like that. And I think that in Edmonton, when I come back, I get a bit of a breather, like as far as traffic and things like that. But I do see sometimes, the construction is always an issue. I think the city planners, when they do plan and try to expand the city, they build roads too small. And then you just see them go back and have to kind of bust them up and open them up again like that. So I think I'd like to see more, just better building of like the external roads as we expand out, And so I think like that is always something in Edmonton, especially because remember, a lot of people are moving here from all across the country. Like the word out there in Canada is like, hey, it's cheaper to live in Alberta. You can actually buy a home in Alberta. The politicians are like, the Pierre Poilievre is like, the dream is a Canadian family can have a good job and afford a home. And it's like, this is the only place where you can actually do that. Because no one's been buying a home in Toronto unless you're like extremely rich or making a lot of money. And even then, a lot of these guys that bought something in the last few years are upside down on it because it was overvalued and it's a big disaster. So Alberta, we still have at least that, but we just need the roads to make sure we can get to these places.
For me, I don't like to compare, for me, being in Edmonton, born in Edmonton, always been in Edmonton, I'm seeing affordability, go to shit, So like people come out of university now, it's very hard for them to afford homes. So, our age group, and when we got out, we could kind of get in the game.
Yeah.
Right? And to hear that Edmonton is the most affordable place in Canada right now, that's a dream. That's like saying, hey man, it's compared to I don't have as big of a rash as that guy, on my
That is what it is.
You know what I mean? So
and here's the other thing. Like I'm from Toronto, and I'll tell you this: gas prices are cheaper in Toronto than in Edmonton. Blew my mind. Like this thing, I was like, what sort of oil refineries are they opening?
Right.
Like right next door. So I don't know. Like for me, I think the biggest issue with like Edmonton, I think, is like price fixing. I think this is Canada wide, but in like Edmonton, it's like major amount of price fixing where things just like I've lived there for the last 5 years, so I've seen it right before COVID. The honey times. I call it the honey. That was the moment when it was just
like Yemeni honey. Man.
Yeah, exactly, like real honey. Yeah. It was like Edmonton. I was like, wow, I never knew this place could be heaven. Yeah. And then I'm seeing it. It's like about 2 to 3 times worse. Than what it so this is why it's kind of like I respect that he's looking at it from like sort of a Toronto perspective living, but I'm looking at it from pre-COVID,
when it was great.
Yeah, where we was, I was like, whoa, and then boom, like it's just been
rolling
like
down.
Exactly, it's been like a.
Another thing that made me think, if I was going to say like this is my issue, it would actually probably be rather than the construction stuff, because I think that's just bugging me because I like see things down to one lane all the time. But I think probably like overall street safety and like street crime, like with the homeless problem and with the drug problem and the drug issues. Edmonton, Alberta has always been plagued by like drug issues. Like there's no secret there's a lot of drug dealers out here, and like people get rich off that type of thing and hurting other people and putting that into the community, and like that type of thing makes Edmonton maybe not the safest place to walk at night. Like I tell people that come from other places, like don't just take a stroll down Jasper Ave at 2 a.m. Like if you do, make sure you know how to like throw a Muay Thai high kick to someone's chin or something like that, because it's not safe. And like that would be something that I would say would be a big issue for me, is like make it feel safe again. How do you do that? How do you make Edmonton feel safe again on the street?
Well, with an increased homelessness situation, right? We increase food insecurity, increase home insecurity. This is in research. It increases crime, it decreases security. They all tie into each other. And how do you do that? We take care of one another. We're resource rich, right? And to hear that the rest of Canada is like viewing like Edmonton as like they don't have it as bad as we do. I don't like that we're going downwards. I mean, we should always be building and finding what we are where we are in present moment. We were talking about this on a previous podcast, but finding where we are and moving upwards. And how do we do that? Edmonton's full of talent, ambition, and heart. I mean, you're back here doing 3 shows this weekend. I'm going to try to attend all of them, Wayne.
Yeah, please do. Yeah,
very good. And you, Ahmed, you do a lot of comedy here as well. I've seen some of your shows as well. So we see a lot of talent here in Edmonton, and we a lot of camaraderie, a lot of community here compared to bigger cities like Toronto. And I think we're at a little bit of a crossroads here. If we just all come together and shine together, we can we'll show Edmonton. We'll show what Edmonton is about for Canada. And we are the city of champs. What do you guys think? Should we bring back that sign, City of Champs? We took that down, man. And I was really upset about it, right? Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. I mean, hey, we were 1 game away from winning the championship last year. We would have won that.
Right.
If we would have won that Stanley Cup last year, there would have been City of Champions signs everywhere. There'd be the whole, like, the craziest thing. I know you're an Oilers fan.
A big time, man.
And you can't be in Edmonton for any significant amount of time without knowing about or learning about the Oilers. One of my favorite things is when I see a group of like 6 girls who were like from Sudan or like from like African women, and they're all wearing Oilers jerseys.
Oilers are jobs,
bro. Dude, this is
I love this, dude.
I swear to God, this is outrageous. The first time I ever got my apartment in downtown, I was living right here, and I was right at the Rogers Center, and my sister just moved in with me, and then we came out, and I didn't even know about the Oilers bonanza. Like it's so crazy here. So when we came out, and I swear to God, this is true, I saw cowboys, like a group of cowboys wearing Oilers.
Yeah.
Next was a group of like very Muslim family, all wearing orange, going with the Oilers, all
with the
orange
outfits.
hijab,
Orange hijabs,
orange like like a full orange, like everything. And then the third group was like a bunch of orange wearing yarmulkes, just like Jewish people.
Yeah.
It brings them together.
Brings people together.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
And sport does that. Like that's one thing about sport that it does for everybody. It allows you to all be on the same team. When there's a lot of things in society that can divide us. And we're constantly showing stuff on social media that's meant to make us angry or hate somebody else or take a stand against whatever. And then you have something like that just brings everybody together. And all of a sudden you're high-fiving someone of a different religion. You're high-fiving someone who might be talking shit to you online, but now you're their friend.
Yeah.
So, but what I love is those recent immigrants who are maybe coming from like East Africa or whatever, coming out of like a refugee situation. And then they have this other thing, and then they're trying to figure out Canada and trying to figure out the weather. And they're like, what the hell is this? Minus 35. And then all of a sudden, they're walking down the street and they're high-fiving some person who's been in Edmonton for their whole life, some white guy or some Asian person or something. And they're like, hey, Oilers, and now we got this shared thing. And it happens in other cities, but in Edmonton, it really happens.
It really happens.
Because we
happens.
really
Big time.
love the Oilers
man,
here.
Toronto Maple Leaf fans, bro, they're like in the subway just doing this.
Yeah. They're like,
Just do this, right?
Oh my God, I gotta wait 45 minutes to reach the stadium.
Yeah, it's quite magical, man.
It's really magical.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys think we should bring back the City of Champs? You know where we actually came up with that sign, City of Champions, when it came up? Was after the 1987 tornado. Do you guys remember the tornado? You weren't here from the tornado.
I do know about that. Yeah, Black Friday they
I
called
heard
it.
about
Yeah,
it.
man. So that's when the City of Champs went up. You know, it was
Oh,
showed our
to-
resilience
yeah.
and whatnot. But I think it holds true to Edmonton in general. You hear, you're right. Edmonton Oilers and what the spirit it brings, but I believe it's Edmontonians.
Yes.
Which bring that, because hockey's like, nationwide. It's all over across North America, but Edmonton fans are special.
Yeah. Edmonton people are resilient. Like we grow up here and we see a city that is like, we love each other, we support each other. There's a lot of cool things going on, but we also see some rougher sides of the city. We also have like a thing where people aren't very fake here.
Yeah.
And now
Right.
people
No.
are straight up
No.
about what they're like here. And that was a big shock for me when I moved to Toronto the first time. And I started hanging out in places in Toronto, like I'd go to Yorkville or King West, and you have these guys walking around with like purple John Lennon glasses and a scarf and a Louis Vuitton coat, and they're like, I do this and that and this and that, and who are you? And they won't look you in the eye, and I'm like, who are these people? And I'm walking down the street and I see someone and I kind of want to give them a, hey, how's it going kind of thing, and they just don't even look at me, or I hold the door. I would try to hold a door for someone and they wouldn't walk through. Like, no, wait till it closes. I'll open it for myself. Or in Toronto, another thing is you're driving down the road anywhere downtown and you see an old woman who's like wants to cross the street. She's not at a crosswalk, but she wants to cross the street, and I would slow down for her. She won't cross the street. She's like, no, I'm waiting for you to drive so I can cross the street. Because don't wait for me here. Do your thing and I'll do my thing.
Absolutely.
So there's a different whole system of rules and stuff out there.
Yeah.
And it's focused more on an individualistic thing. Where here we're more like, hey, are you okay? Are you good?
Total
Is
sense
everything
of
okay over
community.
here?
Yeah.
Big sense of community.
Absolutely.
It's so funny to me also. They're like the most community-oriented people, and yet they love capitalism so much. And I respect it. It's such a great... It's such a great, even though like they're like culturally, like, it's like really, they're like the social economic ladder. They have such a good social net of people, and they really care about like enhancing their lives. And this is why I love Edmonton.
Me too.
Dude, Edmonton is my favorite province in Canada by far.
Edmonton's a city.
Sorry. My bad.
It's okay.
I completely.
We should make it a province.
You know what? Even though it still sounded good.
It sounded great.
Still sounded good.
It sounded great.
I know, Edmonton as a province. What do you guys think? We can make that happen.
Dude, I just had a beautiful America moment.
I know, exactly.
I just had a beautiful. Anyways.
Okay, but one thing, that Edmonton could probably do without. I mean, maybe this happens in Toronto, but you guys got paper straws out in Toronto?
I think they do, yeah.
So what do paper umbrellas, paper shoes, and paper straws have in common?
They both melt with water.
Exactly, they don't make sense, right?
Yeah, they're terrible.
I mean, so you're, in Toronto they have them as well. Edmonton we have them. Big annoyance that a lot of people have come up to me about. Get rid of the paper straws.
Well, that video you made the other day that was, you were like, no plastic bags at the checkout, but plastic bags for apples, plastic bags for potatoes, plastic bags everywhere in the entire store. It's like, yeah, like exactly. Like you haven't done anything. You haven't done anything to eliminate plastic. And we all have 75 of those reusable bags at home.
yeah, and you made our lives harder.
And
right?
those are all trash too, right? And it's funny because I just was, we were talking about how I just came back from the Dominican Republic. That's one place I do spend time for the charitable work, for the beautiful weather. And they're like the complete opposite of here for the plastic bag thing. So in the Dominican Republic, they give you a plastic bag for every item you buy at the grocery store. You buy like 7 things, you'll get 7 plastic bags. It's unbelievable to just go and do it. Now, I think they're overdoing it with plastic bags, but like it's crazy to live here, see what we go through, and then go there and see how they're just on the complete opposite side of it.
Yeah.
But man, like you said, I always use those bags for like my little bathroom garbage can or the
Can,
little
yeah.
garbage can somewhere. They're so, or just taking something to a friend's house. You're going to a party and you need to bring a bottle of wine or you need to bring a fruit tray or something. Well, you grab a little plastic bag and take it, right?
Dude, it was completely reusable. Like
Yeah.
we would use them and reuse
strong.
them. And very, oh my God, very high quality stuff.
I know, high quality bags
Yeah.
compared to the Dominican Republic
Yeah.
here up in here. But yeah, the thing is it just has to make sense. Like, okay, you can't. For me, even running for mayor, and I'm a pediatric dentist. I'm all about evidence-based. What's actually the net result?
Yeah.
So I mean, yes, I understand plastics cause harm, microplastics
Right.
cause harm, but when you run with a fact and then you make a decision without looking at evidence and net, like the net result is actually more plastic in the environment, more emissions in the environment, and actually less convenience for us. It doesn't even make sense. Like I'm for the environment. I'm for eliminating plastic and things that harm us. But it's just like it's almost comedic in its own right. You have people that are leading our city, leading our country, and making rules based on feelings without actually any evidence behind it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And that's what drives me the most nuts, right? I mean, that's why I make the joke about paper shoes and paper umbrella and what do they have in common? Because it doesn't even make sense. A paper straw, like if you ever try to have a Slurpee with a paper straw?
It's a nightmare.
It's a nightmare. And
It
if you
starts
think
unwrapping.
right, it starts
Yeah.
unwrapping, and you start saying,
You start
okay,
eating paper.
yeah, right, right. It's paper's kind of getting delicious a little bit. It's like after
Grape
when the
flavored
Slurpee's
paper.
done. I find my kids chewing on the paper straw. It's absorbed so much of the sugar from the Slurpee. But yeah, that's what's happening is you're eating paper, man. So I mean, and the shopping bags, they're $2 each, right? They keep piling up at home. I was thinking, like what would be some good uses for these things? Because, man, I got literally about 150 of these at home. And, I've looked at them. I've actually thought of making clothing with these things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You could pop a couple holes in them, get some suspender underwears on them or something like that.
I could see a Dragon's Den pitch for some companies we've taken all the reusable garbage bags. We're building homes now. out of them.
Okay, and here's the thing: they tell you, "Hey, do you wanna like in the beginning? Have you noticed that it was like a deposit, and now do you want to buy it?" And the question was, the paper bag, can I return it back as Paper Depot or you can't? Like they were like
Yeah,
it was
make a deposit to it, right?
They used to tell you here, put a deposit. You need to pay a deposit for it, and then we could not even return it. So it was a complete grift.
Yeah.
Like it was just
What about? How do you guys feel if you have what do we have here? Loblaws or Sobeys? Sobeys.
We got Sobeys,
Sobeys
yeah.
here, right? So let's say you have a Sobeys reusable bag, and then you stop at a Save On, and you're going in there with that one. Do you feel like you're an enemy of like a criminal going in with the other bag? Or
That's so funny. I feel like a walking billboard. Just
Yeah, walking billboard from
it's like a
whatever.
walking
You know what I like to do actually, honestly, is sometimes I just for fun, man, I'll go buy I'm very proud of Tim Hortons when it used to be Canadian, right?
Yeah.
Now I do it with Second Cup. So I'll go buy a Second Cup and I'll walk into a Starbucks just on purpose. I'll go get it. And then I'll show everybody looking that I have a Second Cup. I'm going to start doing that at other grocery stores.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where I go to a Sobeys and go to Superstore. I'm going to show everybody
Just
my
go,
bag.
Can I just fill up this bag in here? No problem. That's okay.
Dude, man, I wanted I remember one time I went to Safeways.
Yeah.
And then they used to have a 50-cent deposit. When it first started, it was 50 cents.
Yeah.
And you can only get the paper bag, so I bought 2 of them.
Yeah.
And they both ripped. Then I had to buy another 2 paper bags.
Yeah.
I was cussing out that poor employee.
You're in a good mood, going in for groceries, picking up milk, leaving there, getting in a car accident, and getting road rage because paper bags. Just
And the thing is, it came on both bad news. It was paper bags, war in Ukraine, $2.25 for gas and paper bags.
All at once.
All at one
All
day.
at once.
I freaked out, bro. I got laid off just that week. It was
it was all at once, everything.
Well, when you ask a place and they're like, "Would you like a bag?" and they're like, "No problem." They scan it and it's $2.50. You're like, "This is a whole other item I'm buying.
Yeah.
I could have
Yeah.
bought a bag of carrots for this, or something like that, right?" And then I'm like, and I've done the thing yesterday. I'm like, "Nah, I'm gonna just carry all this out." And now I'm carrying 17 items out with no bag, and I'm like, I'm further along in my life than having to struggle like this. Why am I struggling like this?
Yeah, exactly.
'Cause I don't want another one of those damn reusable
It
bags.
lowers your self-esteem.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's so. You know what I do is right now I go to the vegetable aisle.
Yeah.
I go to the vegetable aisle, and these roller bags that they give you, which surprisingly is acceptable. Do you know the roller bag for all the fruits and vegetables? amazing. You can still use that
yeah, the
plastic
roll-up
bag.
bag, yeah.
Dude, I just take out, like, I just roll them out like this, take like 18, and you could just put them on your pocket.
Yeah.
And just wrap them. Wrap them at the desk counter. Thank you so much, man. No need for the bag. I'll just use yours.
Great idea. I'm going to do that. I'm going to start doing that.
Good man. Viewers, we got an idea now. All the shoppers are going to change it because of this.
Dude,
right?
I want to talk about these cookies here for a second. We just, me and Ahmed are making noise here with this plastic. We pulled out a couple of your cookies. These are amazing. These are very delicious, and it's time to shine on them.
Yeah, shine
Who made
together.
these? You?
No, I definitely didn't make them, but I did dream them up. You know,
Okay.
It's a dual purpose. Advertises my campaign and produces cavities for the practice. I'm just joking, of course, but very talented.
No, you're not at all.
Yeah,
Like, that's your main thing. Like,
I know, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
It's like, who was it? Who the heck was that? I just saw it on I don't know if it was a podcast or something like that, but it was talking about, my buddy Mo Ishmael. You know Mo Ishmael?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mo Ishmael has a joke where he was talking about, he's Egyptian, and he was saying some guy back home was, so he ran a tire shop, and he was like this nice, like respectable man. You know, I run this tire shop to support for my family, and I just work hard and do this thing, and, you know, make sure all the clients are good, and wake up every day and go to the tire shop. And then everybody was like, oh, he's a respectable man taking care of his family. And then it just shows him in the morning. He just walks out and just has this like huge handful of nails and just throws them in the street every day.
Yeah.
Just like that's how he's getting his
That's how he's
business,
getting
right?
his business.
That's what you're doing, man.
I swear to honestly, if I could do one thing in life, like as a pediatric dentist, I would get rid of fructose, glucose, and corn syrup and bring back the natural sugars, just the way it sticks to your teeth. You know, us growing up, even, you know, looking at anything going downhill, you know, we see the rate of decay actually just skyrocket. 5 times more common to have tooth decay by age 6 than asthma.
Wow.
And asthma is, like, as doctors know, is the #1 childhood disease. You know, so back to like feeling, and, you know, people just think it's only sugar. It's actually the fructose, glucose, corn syrup, and absolutely everything.
What about aspartame?
And aspartame? Well, I'm not a fan of aspartame. Anything that's fake sugar, because it still can, you know, the acids and whatnot can still dissolve your sugar. I'm a big fan of xylitol. It's a 5-carbon sugar, if you want to get into the science of it. But 5-carbon sugar, it actually doesn't allow the bacteria in your mouth to produce. So it actually, like, it's like a killing of all the bacteria in your mouth. It doesn't allow them. Yeah, it makes them fill up their belly and then they fall off.
Wow.
That's essentially what it is. Yeah, xylitol, 5-carbon sugar. But it, you know, it's that pure PUR. Have you ever heard of that company? PUR makes it. Yeah. But this is actually, I believe, made with cane sugar, bro. That's why it's so delicious.
Very good.
Dude, these are awesome.
Help yourself to a second or third. There you go. Get on hyper. So you guys,
love 'em.
both Edmontonians, what would you guys say is your favorite part of Edmonton? You know? You guys like the balls on White Mud Drive? What do you guys think of the balls on White Mud Drive? I really loved them when they first came out. Then I found they were like, you know, really expensive to make. And some guy, did you hear somebody
Got stuck in them?
Got stuck in them?
I like making fun of them when I'm on stage, like doing, because, you know, when you do comedy, like one of the best things you can do when you have like a hot local crowd is to make some local jokes, right?
Yeah.
And that works in whatever city you're in. You know, and good comics will maybe walk around that day or the day before when they get to a new city and see some things, and then they have some things to joke about, right? And, you know, some comedians actually make that a big part of their act, is to try to pick up some local things. I remember I did an improv festival in Winnipeg years ago, and they have those giant tigers stores out there, and but they're more prominent out there.
Yeah, totally.
And I saw one downtown that was just kind of a rough looking one, like a bunch of wild characters outside this thing. And we had this big show in this big like symphony place, and it was like 500. And I just literally just dropped, oh, it's better than the giant tiger or something like that, and the whole place went nuts. And I'm just like, that isn't a joke on its own. It's just recognizing something that everybody has a shared. It's the same way as us talking about the bags, right?
Yeah.
Camaraderie.
But in Edmonton, to answer your question about what I love about Edmonton, it's funny because I live in Edmonton and Toronto, and people ask me which one do you like better, and I'm like, you know, what's crazy is like, I really love both of the cities, but they're for totally different reasons. Like Edmonton, I like it because it's more calm. Edmonton, I like it because it's actually quite a beautiful city once we get out of this sort of gray, dirty period and get into the summer. The summers in Edmonton are some of the best summers in Canada.
Awesome.
They're unbelievable. You know, the festivals we have here, the people, how we care about each other. The food is low-key really amazing here. We have really good restaurants and food. I've eaten everywhere in Canada. We have amazing food here in Edmonton.
Oh, man.
And then, you know, just the literally just the energy. And also 5% GST is huge. Like paying that, like I don't know when it was over Christmas. Do you remember we were all like GST exempt, HST exempt
right.
for a little while?
Yeah.
That was a big deal in Toronto because they're 13%.
Yeah.
So you would feel that on a bill, like going for lunch. When it came back, it was like, whoa, everything's 13% more, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we don't feel that like extra taxation pain here.
Yeah.
So when you buy cheese, you buy it in Edmonton and bring it back to Toronto. Is that what's going on, or to avoid the extra
There's
tax?
a few things I smuggle back
Yeah.
to Toronto. Yeah.
That is so
I'll
funny.
mail myself certain things.
Dude, one
Yeah,
time, when I first moved here, I had to go to my new apartment, and I just got it, and then I just made some money for the first time in quite a while. So I was like, nice, I'm gonna get all this stuff, and I remember it was like about $1,000. It was about $1,000, like somewhere around there, and I was like, oh, dude, what a great deal. And then I went to the counter, and it was just, I just moved here. I just moved from Toronto to Edmonton. And then she was like, yeah, this is about $1,000 plus tax. And I was like, shit.
Shit, yeah.
And then
You didn't calculate the tax.
I didn't calculate the tax, but I calculated like Toronto tax,
Yeah.
13%. I was like, I got to pay $100 and some bullshit dollars. And then
it was $50.
And then it was $50. I was like, whoa, like,
Wow.
this is awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It makes a big deal. It
makes a
adds
big deal.
it adds up, and it's just like, not everybody has tons of money. So when you're looking at a bill, and especially going out to eat, just like you said, like pre-pandemic, going out to eat, going to restaurants. I remember growing up in Edmonton where there was a lot of diners or places you could go where a sandwich was $4 or $5 or $6, $7. That doesn't exist anymore. Every sandwich is $18, $20. Every time you go for lunch or anything, it's $30, $35, let alone you have kids and a family. I don't even know what those lunches or dinners would cost.
Yeah.
But like the cost of going to eat now, you see people being so careful with what they're buying in grocery stores. I was walking around Save-On yesterday, and I see where there's tags of, hey, this thing was on sale, and it's all gone. Because people are really looking for those deals now, because there's a big difference between grabbing what you want at the grocery store and your bill being $250 or your bill being $130 because you're strategically buying. So I think people are making that choice when they go out to eat now. And so, that GST matters. An extra 8% over a year of spending. It's a lot of money, right?
No, absolutely.
Yeah, and honestly, and this is something I think I talked with you about. It's the problem that I have with like right now, and I think this is a more of a Canada thing generally, is that there's so much price fixing. No, I till today don't, because I don't believe, like I would, for example, in Edmonton, there's a like H&W Market, like the vegetable place. I could fill up a whole cart of vegetables. Bro, I can get like 84 oranges in a box. I remember I used to get them for like $18-20. Like freshly juiced. It's so cheap, right? Do that in Sobeys and Loblaws and Freshco. You're gonna, same bill. It's like $300-400. There's a marketplace right here. Two ginormous like 12 ounces steaks, more even, for like $8. Delicious.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Yeah, it wasn't like low quality $8
It
meat, because when you hear $8 meat now,
No, it's like delicious. And then you look at it, it's like people, like, I think what happened is like a lot of these companies, like since inflation whatever happened, they just doubled the price, and then they kind of realized that, kind of Edmonton Canadians in general are so used to high prices that they don't even know that they could return them back to like it's regular. I'm telling you, I'm so angry
Yeah.
at price fixing.
No, it's bad. It's bad.
Inflation's a real thing.
Yeah.
And food insecurity is becoming a real thing here in Edmonton. That's a big thing that I've seen lately. I work with with some groups here, and I've noticed the Edmonton Food Bank. The numbers are staggering. 47,000 unique users every month are the numbers now. That's in Edmonton.
Wow.
You're hearing that. So, hearing from
lot
you
of
guys,
people.
that's a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
And that's a 47% or 48% increase over the last 2 years alone.
Yeah.
The same people that used to donate to the food bank are now using the food bank to kind of supplement their foods. And we're seeing like cars like, Mercedes there and some newer cars, people that used to be able to afford, those kind of nicer things are now on the other side of the fence where not as food secure as they once were. So for me, these are all indicators that we're kind of going at a crossroads a little bit too far down, And we could all grow our food. Go back to the farming days. You're allowed chickens in Edmonton now. Did you know that's a new rule as well? You're allowed to have, I think it's up to 3 chickens in your backyard. I got to look
That's
at
a fair number.
That's a fair number, right? Yeah. What would you guys do with chickens? Would you guys be more about the egg or more about the meat? What would you?
Man, I can't kill what I raise, man.
You can't kill it, right?
Nah, man.
Yeah,
I
me
look
too,
at my
man.
beautiful little chicken. I'll be
I know,
you're
right?
my best friend.
Be watching Netflix, cuddling with the
Dude,
chicken.
yes. I'm a you know, like, we have
You know, the mayor has a chicken. And what was that? Paw Patrol? Is that Paw Patrol? Mayor Goodway has a chicken. I think I need a chicken to be cruising around as the mayor, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't kill a chicken either. But that's a rule in Edmonton now. And, you know, it happened around COVID times, you know. Remember when COVID was when we all kind of came together? The world was all together. We're all in it together. And, you know, there was no property tax that year, right? It was like a zero. You know, things were affordable. But ever since then, I've been noticing year on year, things are getting way more expensive.
Yeah, Ahmed's right though. Like it's inflation, but then it's also these guys who are taking advantage of it and saying, "Oh, inflation's gone up a bit here. Okay, cool. Well, let's just price it up here," and people will just assume it's inflation. But
like, I swear to God, like the day before the carbon tax was announced out, like the day before, 3/4 of all the gas stations went up from $1.39 to $1.69.
Yeah.
And then the day the carbon tax was unannounced, they dropped it down to $1.39.
Yeah, Boxing Day
Yeah.
special.
Like nothing changed.
Like nothing changed.
Nothing changed. Yeah. That's what they do, Boxing Day.
I was like, who are you lying to? Like, oh man, like I'd rather drive to Spruce Grove now just to get $1.12 gas. Like, you know what I mean? And just like, pay 5 liters to come back? Way cheaper than $1.39. Like, it's just crazy.
You'll drive all the way to Spruce, take your time, spend 5 liters in gas. It's actually cheaper that way.
Yes.
And cause more emissions.
Thank God. You know, like,
take the emissions.
I'll take the emissions, man.
emissions.
Just don't take the emissions from my wallet, please. Like, that's my.
No, it's funny. I was talking with my friend about like the things that will like work so hard and like put such a hard fist down, and I'm not spending an extra $1 or $2 on this thing like that, but then we'll like easily blow a bunch of money on some stupid thing somewhere else. But it's just like a weird matter of principles in our head. Like I was playing online blackjack like over Christmas and stuff like that. Like, and this was a disaster. It did not end up.
Yeah,
good.
usually the ends with the disaster.
It did not end up good. I am not playing anymore.
All right, fair enough.
But like I don't know. I saw some like YouTube guys or like some guys who were like beating the system, making all this money on blackjack, and I'm like, I'm smart. I'm good at math. I can do this. And I started playing, and they have like the online casinos, which I think actually is a huge disaster waiting to happen in Canada. The proliferation of all the betting and the gambling sites and the gambling apps. I think there's a lot of people probably suffering in silence. A lot of families probably going through things that we don't know about and talk about as much, because it's a really sad and depraved situation to be like, to lose all your money, right? To go from having money to all of a sudden not, only because you decided to play some stupid online game, not because anybody else took it from you except for your own, you know? So like, I always liked gambling and doing that, but I always had sort of limits where I would be like, you know, if I lose $300, I'm done, you know, whatever. And sports betting was fun, but sports betting never got out of control for me because it was like just something that I don't know. It's more like you're not sitting and like pushing it all the time. You got to watch the game and wait to see what happens.
Right.
But with blackjack, now what they have is these online casinos. They have the dealers are real people, and they run them out of Latvia, and there's beautiful women. So they're dealing to you, and they're real. So they're really dealing cards, and they're real, and you can see the cards, you can see it being shuffled, and they're like these beautiful Latvian women, and you can talk to them. There's a chat, and you can talk to the other players, you can talk to this. So you're really in a casino, but you don't have to leave your couch. You could be naked at home, laying in bed doing this. And so I'm like starting to play this, and I won a bunch of money, then I lost a bunch of money, then I won a bunch of money, and it's like, you know, the feeling that you get from winning is so great. The feeling that you get from losing a bunch is terrible. But when you win it back and it's this thing, and I was in Toronto and I was staying in a hotel, and I made $3,000 or $3,500, and I was like, I figured it out. I figured out how to play blackjack. I got a system. I'm going to be this rich blackjack guy now forever. And it swung the other way. I ended up losing that same amount, and then I lost even more, maybe the same amount. Right. And then I just realized like, okay, wait, and I had to do like a psychological deep dive on myself. Like, what am I doing here? What addictions am I going through? What am I justifying? And I did this crazy psychological examination to be able to like let go of it. And what it made me realize is like, man, how many people out there, because all we see now is betting site ads everywhere for everything all the time.
Right.
They're
Interesting.
everywhere.
Yeah. I've seen them as well.
And I get a lot of auditions as an actor to be the spokesperson of Bet99 or Sports Interaction, or my buddy is the face of Sports Interaction. If you ever see any Sports Interaction ads, my buddy Alistair, he's like a very funny improv comedian. He's the face of it. He got paid well for that. But like, that's one of the main things actors go out for in Canada for commercials is betting apps.
And, you know, gambling is one of those vices that has no limits. I mean, you can only do so much crack cocaine until you overdose, or you can only...
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Right? It's a lot of crack cocaine. It's a lot.
I've tried, and it's a lot. I'm just kidding. I haven't tried.
But, you know, gambling is one of those vices that there's really no limits, and it actually can affect families and everything like that. And you'll find that with food insecurity, home insecurity, you're right. These... you know, these vices do get exposed more, including drugs, including depression, including trying to find a way out. And then to have companies trying to prey on those individuals, you know, maybe we should be looking a little bit more in terms of those laws, you know, maybe nationally, you know, federally, provincially, you know, talking and working with governments in that regard.
Well,
right?
and that's the thing, right? It's weird when you're in a situation where we're at now, where there's inflation, where there's this sort of, but then you see things like this price fixing, this proliferation of gambling. It's like, why is the preying on people happening in the toughest times?
And then the worst part is like right now, the government just comes out with banning nicotine patches. I'm like, please, that's not important.
That's not important.
That's not important.
I need my nicotine patch.
Yeah, like why? Like they're all adults, 18 years in age. Like, are you gonna try to control me? Like the fentanyl crisis, not working on it, gambling at people's homes, like prying, destroying families. Like this is actually like tearing apart people's lives.
Yes.
And fundamentally uprooting even society, like our society. And genuinely, the focus of the government is almost at this point like it's comical. It's comical. Nicotine patches are bad. Plastic bags do not use. But of course, corporations use as much as you want.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead. Put your plastic.
There's
your
no
bags
deposit. Don't worry about it. We'll take it from Sam and Mike and Bill.
Exactly. Don't worry from the guys.
Single mom, and you know, like it's so bananas. It's like almost like a dystopia of. Like and this is why like I think it's a great thing that you started as a mayor too, because the best way to change is changing yourself, then changing your family, then changing your community, then and gradually the change is going to be nationwide. And genuinely, please ask these questions. They're driving me crazy. Like I can't.
You know, sometimes I hear the issues and I believe in a lot of the issues and I've heard the issues. And you know, for me, sometimes I feel like I'm being like, this is like Karen on steroids. We all hear Karen. You know, it's like I got the microphone and now I'm like running for office and these are the things I believe in and these are the things I'm complaining on. And I share those values as an Edmontonian. So I feel like I'm in running for mayor here. Like I'm just. I'm not a politician. I'm an Edmontonian advocating for what we believe in, right? And so this is like, to me, Karen on steroids right now. I'm complaining about bags and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
but Karens do it more for like them.
Yeah, okay.
They're a little more selfish with it, right? Like, I want this. You can't do this about like this is that. You're doing it for the good of everybody else.
What would you name me instead of Karen? I mean, is there would you give me a name?
Good old Joe.
Good old Joe. I like it. Good old Joe.
Good old Joe. Taking care of the community. Hey, stop that. Go back home. Stop fighting kids.
Right on.
I think you should campaign with those socks, though, for sure. Those Fruit Loop socks.
Yeah, Fruit Loop socks. My kids bought me
those are awesome.
These for my last birthday, but I realized that I had a hole in my my right toe, so I switched gears here because it
has a loop, has a Fruit Loop on one of your toes.
It has a loop there, yeah, exactly. You know what I was thinking about Fruit Loops would be good for our potholes, eh? Would be to eat Fruit Loops out of potholes while we're waiting. That'd be a good use for them, or fill them full of trout.
Yeah.
Right.
Fill them full of these damn reusable bags.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we could do.
If we popped them in, we wouldn't have the pothole.
There you
problem.
go.
Yeah, pop them right in.
Pop them right in.
Perfect, man. My transmission is going to be awesome. Suspension is going to be great.
Chiropractors will be out of business, because you hit that pothole and
that's my final answer. Fill the potholes with the reusable bags.
And by the way, they're plastic. It's going to take 10,000 years for it to decompose.
Exactly.
10,000-year problem.
Right.
When is the next mayoral race?
The race is right now. I'm the only one nominated, as far as I know.
Okay.
So apparently, I don't have to do anything, and I win right now. But the actual race is October 20th.
October 20th.
So the actual election date is October 20th.
And so then, what our mayor would have been? How long has he been there?
This would have been his. It's 4-year term.
Oh wow, it goes pretty quick.
It goes really quick.
Yeah.
But he was there. 2021. That was COVID times, right?
Right.
Post-COVID and stuff. Like, coming through that, and but yeah, he stepped off. He's running for Liberal MP. We've got a couple councillors there that are, I believe they put their notice of intent in to run, but I'm the only one nominated. It's like, is that how parking permits go? Like, are building permits go? Is that an indication? I'm very curious. You know, if you're in it, you should be serious and go for it. It's 100 signatures, $500. Where is everybody? You
Yeah.
know? I find that a little bit odd. Just, you know, in my profession, when I want to get something done, you know, I got a form, I fill it, I get it done.
Well, it's good. You're in early.
Yeah.
You're ready to go. I mean, yeah, like that is interesting though. That I didn't actually know it was coming up in October, but you got a good. I think you got a great shot. You got a.
I think you're actually
you got-
probably
Well, I'm
in
the
the
only
bag.
one running right now, you know.
In
nominated,
a
but-
real plastic bag, not
in a real plastic bag.
bag.
That's it. You know, it'd be funny. It'd be like, you know, how did plastic bags make you win an election, right? But you know, really, what I'm doing is I'm advocating for Edmonton. It's like what the whole list on what a mayor should be doing. One of them is to advocate for Edmontonians, right? So I'm coming at it as an Edmontonian. That to me is like number one. Okay, what do we want? How are we going to spend our money? How's it going to benefit everybody? Put that number one, not capital, you know, legacy, ego, pet projects that,
Yeah.
you know, that I care about. Like only 1% of people use bike lanes in certain areas. I love bike lanes, by the way, personally. But, you know, I want to know what everybody wants. What's going to benefit everybody? When I see 5,000 plus homeless and, you know, security issues going up, you know, we don't even want to ride the LRT anymore here, right? You know, to me, that affects everybody. You know, can we make change? You're damn right, man. We should be spending money on security, not on bike lanes, for instance. We should be spending
Yeah.
money on, you know, infrastructure in the positive way, not on things like Blatchford where 90 families are living there, man. Like, you know, to me, it just boggles my mind that the things are how leadership can just make decisions where they feel that it just is going to benefit people, but no evidence behind it. Plastic bags, no different. I'm against plastic, but it's not working. It's actually a net negative to the environment, and we're all getting annoyed, right? So why aren't we changing this? Why don't we just admit we're wrong and moving into the right direction? So yeah, that's what I'm doing, man. You know,
Yeah. Well, all the power to you, man. And you got I tell you one thing, you got the voice for it too. You have you have an amazing voice.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I practice in the shower at home while I'm, washing my legs.
But it's comforting, man. It's comforting. You know, some people, I don't know. Sometimes I hear my own voice when I hear it back, and I'm like, why am I talking like
Why am I
that?
talking?
Yeah, exactly.
I can't
Why am I
even,
mumbling?
I swear to God, I can't even listen to one single recording of my stand.
Yeah, it's different, right? Because
It kills me.
you echo in your own
It's
head.
so
But Wayne, tell me a little bit about Nicaragua. So you just got back.
Dominican Republic.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I'll tell you about Nicaragua if you
Dominican
want.
Republic. Tell me about the Dominican Republic, and we'll stay away from Nicaragua. But
Yeah.
yeah, Dominican Republic there. Yeah, tell me about the orphanage and how your last trip was. I understand you've been going. Was it 15 times or something like that in the last?
Well, so I found it in 2015. I had a woman actually I was dating. We went down for a little trip there, and she was doing some pageant modeling. Actually,
Okay.
she was in a pageant.
That's like a humble brag. Eh? That is,
Yeah.
she's a hot chick.
Yeah,
That's why
and
he's
that has
saying.
nothing to
Humble
do with
brag.
the
Humble
orphanage.
brag.
Completely
Yeah, it has nothing
boasting.
to do with it.
Completely
Yeah. She was
boasting
doing
right
the
now.
pageant. You know, she was
Yeah.
number one. She was really.
She was
the only
actually
one.
a 15 out of 10 looks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And
Awesome.
no one's
See?
ever seen someone that hot before.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
There you
but and that has nothing to do with this story. But anyways, about the Dominican Republic. But so because she was in the pageants, part of the pageantry work is to do some charitable work.
Okay.
So she was like, "Hey, when we go here, do you mind if we go to this orphanage? I found this orphanage, and I want to bring these kids a bunch of, school books, pens, pencils, all this type of stuff." I'm like, "Go
Yes.
check it out." Yeah. So we go there, and it's about an hour from Punta Cana. Everybody, when they go to the Dominican Republic, goes to Punta Cana
Cana, yeah.
because that's like the big tourist where all the hotels are. But an hour away is this town called Iwe, and in Iwe, it's a town full of Dominicans and working Haitians and stuff, and it's all the people who work in Punta Cana, but they need to live somewhere cheap. And they bus an hour in the morning to work to Punta Cana. All the hotel workers, everybody, right? So we go in there, and this is my first time kind of in a developing country, seeing the side of it that they don't show you when you're a tourist. And you're seeing all the broken down, like the not undeveloped houses and the roads that are a mess. You want to talk about potholes? This is like your whole car will get stuck,
talking
right?
craters, man.
And you see all this stuff,
Yeah.
and you see these emaciated, cows walking by and things like that. You're just like, oh boy, this is different, right?
Different zone,
And it was my
yeah.
first time kind of seeing that. And then, anyways, we get there, and there's all these boys there, and we hang out with them. We give them the stuff, and when we get there, they're playing basketball with this kind of broken net they got going, but they're using a soccer ball that's like deflated, kind of. They can't even bounce it. They're just sort of throwing it and throwing it at the net, but they're trying to play basketball. And I was just like, man, like, in Canada, like if we want to play basketball, if I want to go kick a soccer ball around or something, it's not hard, man. Somebody's got a ball. It's easy. This is not a problem that we ever encounter, but these guys don't even have that. And I was like, so we go back to the hotel, and I remember going to the hotel, and we're in this nice, beautiful resort, and I just see these slobby Americans at the swim up bar, just like doing shots. And, oh yeah, we're gonna get the buffet later, and I'm just like, this is disgusting. I'm like, these people are fucking gross. I'm like, I can't stand this. Like, I'm like, I don't want to be here. I'm like, we got to go back to the orphanage. I got to get these guys a basketball. Right, how can I sit here and enjoy this gluttonous lifestyle while these kids don't even have a basketball? So I'm like, babe, we're going back tomorrow. So we went back tomorrow, the next day, and we stopped at the Sirena, which is like the Walmart kind of thing there. Bought some basketballs, bought a bunch of clothes, shorts, shoes, everything. Went back. And as soon as we went in there with these balls, these kids ran, they grabbed them. They were so happy, hugging us, ran outside, and they're shooting and they're playing. And it meant so much to them. Yeah. It was such a little thing. It wasn't even a lot of money we spent. It was such a little thing. Yeah. It meant so much to them. And because I was a male and they're all boys, we really, they were jumping on me. I was playing with them, and she was, I credited her because it was her idea to go, but I bonded with them way more because it was all boys and playing around and roughhousing and stuff. So I remember leaving, and I was like, guys, I promise I'll be back. I'll be back one day. I promise I'll be back.
They're your homies now, man.
Yeah, and then when I came back to Canada, it ended up my dad was sick, and then that whole thing kind of took a thing where I had to come back here and focus on that. I couldn't really travel there. And then I moved to LA, and I was living in LA, and then traveling in LA, and you can see now people are talking about the border and stuff like that. Well, I've always had issues with the border and crossing, and then with Trump coming in and that, he made it worse and harder back in his first term with the border stuff. So I was a little worried to fly from the U.S. to the Dominican to back to be. I'm getting sick of getting put into secondary inspection for 4 or 5 hours. So I'm just like, I gotta get there. But I didn't get back for about 5-6 years. Finally, I think it was the end of 2021. I got back there, and I had been in contact with the kids, social media and stuff like that. And when I got back, it was like those same boys, but they were 5 years older now. They'd grown up now, but they still remembered me. And then there's a whole bunch of new kids and stuff.
Awesome, man.
And I went, and they have a new orphanage, and there's some other people who've been helping out, and it's a little bit better of a situation, but it's still rough. But there's people who help out, and I'm just like, this makes me so happy. I don't have kids. I don't have family of my own, like my own kids. And when you show up and you do these little things and you see how much it means to people, it's one day out of my trip or 2-3 days out of my trip. And it's like, when you just see the impact you can have, and you think of how many people in the world are struggling and need so much. And this is just a tiny little piece of it. But when you're experiencing it in that moment, it feels so big. And it's because it helps me so much. It fills my heart, fills their hearts. They're having a great time. They got this crazy, huge white dude buddy with tattoos who's from Canada, who they don't have any other guys that look like me that are their friend. And remember, in those countries, they consume a lot of TikTok and social media because they can't go everywhere. Do things. But now it's all just in their phone. So when they see someone from another country, it's interesting to them and it's exciting. And I'm like, hey, I just want to be your guy's friend and support you. And so I go down, and I've had some support. Some of my friends who are also just private individuals will kick in money. I had a car dealership in Toronto. I've had different businesses I approach to give, to pitch in money to go down, and we buy them food, clothing. They'll request specific items sometimes. Like I said, I got a couple motorcycles for a couple guys, and beyond supplying things, it's actually, that helps, of course, but it's actually the time.
Yeah,
when you go and you spend
that energy, that time, and that camaraderie, that support.
When I went there on Sunday, I showed up, and it's like they were like, Wayne, and they all run and gave me this huge hug when I came through the thing of the compound, and it was like that, just them remembering me and me being their big brother, being their big uncle, whatever it is, uncle, and all those hugs and stuff like that. It's like the best day of the year for me so far.
Yeah, man. I know the feeling because I've been around the world. I've done
you said you've been to a ton of countries.
I've been in a lot of places, and that's why I got Nicaragua, because they kind of all melded together. And I often say to people, you want to see true happiness, man, that you won't see here? Pump up a soccer ball and go to a Latin country, like in the middle of the field. I'm talking off the beaten path, not where in the resorts and whatnot, and go kick a soccer ball in a field of kids. You will see true happiness, man. You won't get that here. You try that here at Pollard Meadows School, in the Mill Woods. Go kick it in. They'll kick you off the premises. What are you doing? Who's this guy kicking soccer balls here? Something so simple like that.
Yeah.
The point is that camaraderie, that, given something that somebody needs, and that feeling of support is so huge for people in order for them to break. I always talk about thresholds.
Yeah.
Right. So what you do for, those 25 to 30 boys there, they got a big bro out in Canada. They can, you mentioned that you talk to them and, you guys keep in contact and whatnot.
Yeah.
That gives people, a little bit of an uplift sometimes just to break a barrier, which is absolutely huge, which is why I think that, you're getting at, so it's reason actually you came on the show here, Wayne, because my brother is the one who knows you, and he goes, my boy Wayne's a comic, and he's gonna be in town, and he's out in an orphanage. I'm like, he's on the show, right away, right? Like it was like instant, and then right away as a comic, who do I know? Yeah, Ahmed, Ahmed 2 times, man. I don't. Like, your parents couldn't think of like another name. They're like, what do we name?
It wasn't that my parents couldn't think of another name. It's just the problem was naming when you like how our names are like very ancestral.
Yeah.
Right. So it's my name, my father's name, my grandfather's name, my great grandfather, and then like my family name.
Yeah.
So when we first came to Canada, right, it was like when you become a naturalized citizen, they'll tell you what's your first, second, and third.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, my name, my father's,
Yeah.
and my grandfather.
Okay, you go like that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how I did it. So my dad named me after his dad.
Yeah.
Ahmed. That's how it went. But it's not my last name. This is a complete
Okay,
fumble.
hold on a sec. So 3 in a row, you guys had the first name was Ahmed?
Yeah. So me and my sister and my brother have Ahmed as the last name. But my dad,
Yeah.
my fourth name was his last name, like Qasim, because my name is
Okay.
Ahmed Abu Bakr Ahmed Qasim Saeed Al-Ma'mari. So
Hey, bro, you think you have a hard time traveling? Crossing borders?
Oh,
this guy
yeah.
going nowhere, man.
No, yeah,
What was your name?
absolutely.
Abdul Khalid?
Yeah.
Exactly.
You gotta make sure you get the Oilers jersey
Yeah,
on.
bro.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, bro, we're not traveling. You were
I'd be
going nowhere with
hyphenated.
this guy.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
Omar Mohammad. I get pulled on the border all the time, right? I ain't going nowhere sometimes. Traveling,
Yeah.
to the States or cross borders. I always have that problem no matter where I go. Just
Yeah.
having the last name.
I like
do.
it. I like it when you see somebody like that, like someone who's an immigrant with like clearly a crazy like Islamic name like that or something, and then they just have like an Make America Great Again hat or like or like something like
Just
a
trying to balance.
like something like a Canadian shirt, like a Canadian hat. They're like, no, hey, like I'm more patriotic Canadian than you guys, but it's like their trick to get through. Like I love that. I love that.
I love.
Actually, I remember. What was it? Yeah, no, it was something like that. I can't remember the story, but it was. I just love seeing that. I love seeing like people gaming the system like that. You know?
Yeah.
I love it, man. Gaming the system. So last thing before we're almost out of time, guys, and it's last thing I kind of want to talk to you guys about. Comedy. You guys jumped into the comedy. Now, growing up, you want a job to do, and like, for me, at one point I wanted to be a dentist. People really support that. Yeah, dentistry, good profession, good job. You go for it, right? Being mayor, people are like, what are you doing, bro? Like, you got a good job, you're at the prime of your career, you want to step off and do this. It's about service. But maybe analogous to comedians. I mean, growing up, like at one point I wanted to do comedy as well, and people are like, not really feeling, man, that's not a good career. You're not going to make money. Like, what are you doing, man? Maybe that could be a second thing to do. But you guys are both guys that have broke through that barrier. Can you say, so I think we might share something very similar, just doing what you feel in terms of your path and what you're passionate about. Can you guys maybe just talk a little bit about that and what got you into comedy and actually doing it? Because, I mean, you're doing 3 shows. You've been on, NBC and Ferrari, and I've seen you, and I understand you go coast to coast. You guys have kind of broke that barrier yourselves. And, I'm kind of trying to do that with Mary, just following my passion, as you will. Can you guys comment a little bit about what got you into comedy in that regard?
Well, honestly, since I was 18, my mom has been telling me, yo, you should do a comedy show. But
So you got the support.
Yeah, I got the support. My auntie,
Okay.
who was like a mega religious fanatic,
Yeah.
she even wanted me to go do
Wow.
stand-up. Like, it
Okay,
was
bro.
crazy.
Had they been to your comedy sets, though,
Never,
bro? Like,
never.
I
But
don't know, man.
she loves, like, I kill her laughing all the
Okay.
time. So it was, but I was too much of a coward. I wasn't gonna lie. I could not do it. I was so
kidding.
scared until about the age of 30. 30, I was like, you know what? Why not? Why not? It was a very, like, I was like in love with this girl like a little bit, and then she kind of encouraged me. It was like, yeah, why not?
Why not,
And
man?
then I
Just go
did,
for it.
She said it. I'm doing it.
yeah, I did it. So I kind of enjoyed it, and then like it kind of didn't work out. So then it became like an obsession. Like I loved it.
Yeah.
And then kind of it was like a blessing in disguise, because what happened was I started it, and I had a really good job. a really good job, good money, and I started it, and I started loving it.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened, and I was let's just say I wasn't vaccinated, and they decided to lay me off.
Yeah.
And then I had EI for 10 months.
Yeah. So you had a free pass to do comedy.
Free pass
That's
to do
what happened.
comedy.
COVID
And
created
then I was-
comedy for you.
Exactly. So COVID literally created stand-up. And
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to take this opportunity as much as I can. And I was like fairly like really good at it like at that time. So I was doing it every night. Then, you know, slowly and surely it became like an integral part of my life. Like it's just
That's
and then,
it, eh?
And then I just started going to Vancouver, started going to Toronto. I started I'm trying to go right now to like like I went to Saskatchewan already. I want to go to Manitoba next. Like, so it's just like
Giant tiger.
giant tiger.
But but like just meeting you, and when I met you, like you have the energy of like what a comic should be. Like you have a comedian energy. You're naturally funny. Like you're just silly, and like you're funny, and that's the type of comedians I like. Is guys with his energy or women with his energy, because it's just like everything in life you're gonna try to find the funny side of it, or you're gonna be chill about things and stuff like that. And a lot of comedians, man, there's a lot of comedians that are like actually have a lot of pain inside and darkness inside, and they are using it as a way to get some sort of recognition or get their pain out. And sometimes you meet some of these people and they're not the most fun to be around, to be honest. They're like depressive, right?
Yeah,
and it's depressing, and it's just like, man, like my favorite comedians are the ones that are just silly, fun guys, like this guy, like people that are just, I don't even care what he talks about. Like he can be talking about like literally price fixing, and it's like funny to me because it's just the way he is, his energy, you know? And so I like being around that. I like being around people that are laughing and smiling and having fun. And so for me, when you're doing comedy and when you're making people laugh, that energy that you're creating in the room, that's that energy. That's like who he is. That's who we all are. We're all having a good time. You know, when we're all growing up with our friends and stuff and we're joking around and you're in that group and we're all laughing together, all comedy is like being that funny person in your friend group, but figuring out how to do it to a room of people that don't know you and haven't grown up with you.
Yeah.
And if you can just somehow get that comfortability to be silly and fun with everybody, and then they can all, because they all are like that with their family and friends too.
Yeah.
So what are those like generalized sort of principles or those generalized themes that everybody kind of feels, you know? And so for me, it was like ever since I was a kid, I was always just trying to make people laugh, trying to be silly. Every time there's a family photo, I'm always like, nah, doing some stupid thing, whatever. You know, I've always been the class clown, getting kicked out of class my whole life. Like all through junior high and high school, I was always getting kicked out for talking, being silly, trying to make people laugh and stuff. And then I was at, you know, parties after high school and holding court in the kitchen, making everybody laugh. And then people were asking me to MC weddings and everything. And I realized like, what am I
Might as well
doing?
get paid to do
Like,
this,
what am I
man.
doing
Like, yeah.
here? Like, I'm doing this thing where I'm making it, but like, it's not like, this is what I'm actually good at. And yet I'm trying to figure out what I want to do for a job or this and that. So at some point I actually ended up graduating at McEwen here with like a criminology degree. And I was thinking about maybe getting into law and stuff, but my marks weren't that good. So I would have had to probably find the worst law school on earth to get into or something.
Nice.
And I was just kind of like,
Same here, business
Yeah.
and law.
So virus and poor grades got you into comedy.
yeah, no. And then I was just like, but like, I emceed a wedding for my buddy on the north side here is a Portuguese guy, and him and his wife are amazing people. They're just really funny. They're really funny themselves.
Yeah.
So to MC the wedding, I was like, I got to be really funny.
You gotta be
they're
funny, yeah,
automatically
otherwise, yeah.
funny, and the whole
Right.
Portuguese community, they're all funny and everything.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
right.
And so when I emceed the wedding, it was about 600 people.
Oh wow. Okay.
And I went for it, and I was doing dance out thing, act outs. I was beatboxing. I just went full blown for this thing, and I remember seeing like the whole place laugh. And when you see
Yeah.
500
What a
people or 600
feeling,
people
eh?
laugh,
Yeah.
and you realize,
Magic.
whoa, I can move that
Magic.
many people. Like I can make them shake
feeling.
and giggle.
Yeah.
So that was for me where it was like I had an old Portuguese that came up to me and he was like, "You should go be on TV one day or something." And I was like, "I'm gonna move to Toronto." And then I just moved to Toronto. I started taking classes, and it was just off to the races. And then as soon as I started to learn about improv, for me, I love comedy, and it's in the improv form, whether that's crowd work as a stand-up or whether it's doing actual improv comedy. I just love not knowing what I'm going to do. I love the risk of like going in front of a sold-out crowd with no plan, nothing, and knowing that I got to bring the heat. And then that's it. There's a danger to that.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've always been a bit of a risk taker in my life, whether
Yeah.
it was snowboarding or kickboxing or jumping off cliffs or
Yeah.
whatever. And that thing, you know, it's like he said he was scared to do it at first. but when you do it, like what a feeling it
Just
is.
do
What a
right?
What a feeling. And you know,
Yeah.
believe it or not, I feel the same running for mayor of Edmonton.
Absolutely, it's very
I jumped
similar.
in, you know, it's exciting, you know, something you believe in, that a great exchange of energy and bringing people up. I think that's exactly what we shine. But, you know, that's all the time we have today for our show, gentlemen.
Well, thanks for the talk. That was
Hey,
great. That was
thank
Thank
you,
fun.
awesome.
Wayne, Ahmed, and to all of Edmonton. It's time to shine Edmonton. Let's shine brighter together.
Time has come.
Thank you guys very
The
much, man. That
time
was an
is
awesome
now.
show.
Thank you.
It's time. It's time to shine.
It's time to shine, Edmonton, let's shine together. Let's all shine bright in all kinds of weather. Time to shine, Edmonton, let's shine together. Let's all shine bright in all kinds of weather. What? Time to shine, Edmonton, let's shine together. Let's all shine bright in all kinds of weather. Time to shine, Edmonton, let's shine together.